You've probably been there scrolling through endless listings of high-end fish finders, each promising crystal-clear images and a touchscreen that works even under the brightest sun. You click Add to Cart, only to end up on the water with a unit that looks sleek but feels clunky, or a screen that's impossible to read when the sun's right over your bow. That hesitation, that "what if I'm wasting my money" moment is why I wanted to break down the Garmin ECHOMAP UHD2 94sv with the GT56 Transducer before you hit purchase. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the whole idea behind the ECHOMAP UHD2 line is to give you a map-focused chart plotter that also doubles as a serious sonar system. It's not just a glorified GPS, it's a hybrid that lets you plot a route and then watch the water column in real time. The 9-inch touchscreen is advertised as sunlight-readable, which matters because on a summer day the glare can turn a decent display into a washed-out mess. In my own testing on Lake Erie, the screen stayed legible even with the sun directly over the helm, thanks to the high-contrast backlighting Garmin built in. That's a practical win for anyone who spends mornings chasing bite before the clouds roll in. Now, let's talk about the GT56 TM transducer that comes bundled. It's a 3-mode device: traditional, ClearV, and side V scanning. For a freshwater angler who wants to see both depth and structure, the ClearV mode gave a surprisingly clean picture of the bottom when the water was calm. In side V, the unit produced a side-looking slice that let me spot a submerged log at about 12 feet without having to swing a traditional down-looking sonar around. The real test came on a choppy day on the Gulf Coast, where the sides can still manage to cut through surface noise, though the image did get a bit grainier. If you're hunting in very rough water, you might find that a dedicated sidescan unit still edges out the GT56, but for most coastal and inland trips the built-in transducer saves you the extra expense in cabling. One of the features that feels less like a gimmick and more like a daily convenience is the built-in Wi-Fi. You can push sonar snapshots, waypoints, and even whole routes straight to your phone or tablet using the Garmin Active Captain app. I set up a route to a known base hotspot, hit share on the Chartplotter, and the map appeared on my iPad within seconds. The same Wi-Fi also lets the ECHOMAP talk to a compatible force trolling motor, so the motor can follow a pre-programmed path without you having to constantly adjust speed or heading. That integration works well in a lake where you can prep-plot a series of depth contours and let the motor do the work while you focus on casting. However, there are a couple of hidden trade-offs you should be aware of. The first is power draw. The 9-inch screen, Wi-Fi, and transducer all pull a decent amount of juice from a standard 12V boat battery. On a day of heavy trolling, I saw the voltage dip enough to trigger the low voltage warning on the display after about 3 hours. If you run a smaller battery or plan long days without a charger on board, you'll want to either upgrade your power system or keep a spare battery handy. The second trade-off is the learning curve. Garmin's Navionics Plus maps are robust, but the interface can feel dense if you're new to chart plotters. It took me a half hour to get comfortable switching between the sonar view and the navigation screen without accidentally deleting a waypoint. That's not a deal breaker, but it's worth noting for anyone who prefers plug-and-play simplicity. Who should buy this unit? If you're a serious weekend angler who already uses a Garmin GPS or is comfortable with Navionics charts, the ECHOMAP UHD2 offers a solid step up. The combination of a bright touchscreen, 3-mode transducer, and Wi-Fi sharing makes it a versatile tool for both freshwater lakes and nearshore saltwater trips. It's also a good fit for boaters who already have a force trolling motor, because the route-following integration can turn a tedious day of manually steering into a set-and-forget experience. Who might want to skip it? If you only need a basic depth finder for occasional use, the price point may feel steep compared to a simple handheld sonar. Likewise, if you fish primarily in very deep offshore waters where you need a high-frequency, long-range sonar system, you might be better off with a dedicated high-power unit and a separate chart plotter. Finally, if your boat's electrical system is on the weaker side, the added power draw could become a nuisance. Looking at the practical strengths, the standout is the clarity of the screen under bright conditions. The sun-readable display isn't just a marketing claim, it's a real advantage when you're trying to read a chart at 8 a.m. before the mist lifts. The GT56 Transducer's 3 modes give you flexibility without having to buy separate hardware, and the Wi-Fi integration streamlines data sharing and motor control. On the flip side, the power consumption and the initial learning curve are the